Hey guys, Nate here. Fundamentally, Pointman is about getting stronger, helping men get stronger. And as you know, I love the basics, rethinking the basics for the environment, especially outside the gym, especially for 2021. What's important, healthy, functional body, tank top muscles, speed, and strength. I've been getting a lot of feedback about one of the most basic fundamentals that I kind of forgot about, that I haven't even brought up yet, stretching. I've actually gotten a lot of people asking me about, like, how do I stretch? What would I do? How can you help me stretch? What's a better or best stretching routine? And it's a really great question. Thanks for bringing it up, everyone. So more feedback like this. And I know several of you have questions about stretching. More of you have questions about stretching. So let's talk about stretching. Stretching is really interesting because I think most people do it wrong. I'm gonna tell you what not to do, by the way. I'm gonna tell you what to do, and then I'm gonna give you some exceptions to that rule. But my first question for you is, what is stretching? What is stretching? Think about it. Stretching is preparation for training. Stretching is preparation for training, and as such can only be judged based on the quality of the training and of the workout you're able to get from it. I think people forget that concept, where they're looking at stretching in terms of number of exercises or number of minutes spent on it. That's meaningless, it's pointless, it's wrong. Let's say you have to take a test. So let's say you have to take a test. You're not judged on the test by how well you prepare for it. You're judged on the outcome, on your grade. Let's say you're cooking. You're not judged on how well you prepared everything ahead of time. You're judged on the final result. That's the same thing for training and exercise and working out. And training, stretching is just preparation for training. Simple as that. Okay, so where does everyone get it wrong? Ever heard of the concept of static stretching? You probably haven't heard about it too much, but it's what you're already doing. I mean, I'm born in the 80s, and if you came around my time, it was actually still commonplace when we were in high school to do static stretching. That's taking your body and putting it in a static position and holding it there and stretching further and further and further, feeling that burn, feeling that muscle burn. It's actually not what we want to do. I'll save you lots of details about anatomy, but muscle fibers are long string spaghetti type muscles. And actually building muscle is about making those strings thicker and actually adding more strings to them, make them thicker and more resilient. When you do a static stretch, which I'll show you in a moment, when you're holding a position, just like you used to do for your high school sports, you're weakening that string. You're weakening that string. And then when it's come time to work out, to train, all of a sudden that stringy muscle fiber is not as primed for work and performance as it was before. So what you're doing wrong is you're doing static exercises. And I'll show you what that means in a second. What you have to do, what you need to be doing is active, moving your joints and your limbs and your body through large ranges of motion freely, not holding it there. I recommend 2 or 3 exercises for active stretching. Cossack squats, which I'll show you in a moment, around the worlds with weight, typically a kettlebell, and also lunges if you want. Those are the 3 that I do. It's not exhaustive. You can do what works for you. That's the number 1 rule of Pointman, do what works for you. But that is a pretty good setup. Personally, I get done with stretching in like 2 minutes, 3 minutes sometimes maybe. Again, stretching is preparation for training. It's not training itself. So measuring your stretching in terms of amount of time or amount of exercises or amount of sets or how hard or difficult it is, that's totally wrong. As you progress, you might need to stretch have specific stretching programs for a specific outcome. Let's say you're a marathon runner, different from a deadlifter. If you're a soccer player, different from a basketball player. See what I'm saying? So by all means, find the stretching routine that works for you, but don't do static stretching. You're gonna hurt yourself. You literally will hurt yourself. And so, long story short, why is static stretching bad? You will hurt yourself. So basically, you make those muscle fibers weaker so they can't perform optimally when they have to perform during the training, and you hurt yourself. So let me show you examples of what static stretching is that you're probably familiar with. Let me show you examples of what active stretching, what you need to be doing. Ready? All right, let's go. When you were playing sports back in high school, you've probably done lots of hamstring and quad stretches. You've seen it before. Put your legs in one place, over here, hold it a little bit. Maybe that's a hamstring. Everyone's hamstrings are quite tight. Maybe doing something like this. maybe you even did it on the ground. Again, this is all static stretching. What you're doing is you're holding those muscle fibers in a lengthened position. You're making them tired and weak, so they're not able to perform optimally during your training, during your workout. Also, if you had like a door jam, holding your arm open to open up your chest, for example, that's not what we don't want to do. So the top 3 exercises you do want to do. Let's start with the Cossack squat. Cossack squat, get your hips, thighs, your knees. Really good. So spread your legs wide, really wide, and feel free to point your toes outward. Just to go through a basic squatting motion. Okay? What do? I get to 20 or 30, so 10 to 15 per side. You can bring your toe up if you want to allow a better range of motion. You can let your heel come up. Doesn't matter, whatever works for you. It's a Cossack squat. And 20 or 30, which is 10 to 15 per side. What is important is allowing your knee to travel over your toes, but making sure your knee is in line with your toes. You follow? So, from the side. My toes are pointed this way, my knee extends directly over my toes. Okay? This is also true for the lunge, which we're going to talk about in a moment. Same thing, other side. Toes pointed this way, knee goes straight out. Okay, that's the Cossack squat. Real nice. Real easy. You can do it with weight if you want. I don't even do it with weight. That covers most of the lower body. What about the upper body? They're called, around the world, I think they're called, you can do them with kettlebells, you can do them with a heavy book, you can do them with a weight plate, you can do them with a dumbbell, you can do them with no weight. Grab the bell. Nice and slow, take it around your head. This works all the planes of motion for the most part. This is a 3D exercise. I go 5 to 10 in one direction, 5 to 10 in the other. Pretty simple, nice and easy. Go heavier if you want. All you gotta do. Lastly, depending on what you're working on that day, you might want to consider some lunges. Lunges, as I've mentioned before, are the most underrated, probably underrated, underutilized lower body leg movement generally. But you can do the body weight for an excellent warm-up. So normally I'd probably do them walking, or I go probably back and forth, but I'll just go straight forward for now so you can see. Same concept, by the way. Knees track directly over the toes. This is not that, nor is that. For knee health, knees have to track over the toes. There you go. And again, real simple, real easy, body weight. 10, 20 per side, does it matter? No. Let's go from the side. Okay? Lunges, real simple. So, what do we learn? Static stretching, holding those muscle fibers in a lengthened, compromised position, weakens your muscles before your workout, before your training session. That, first of all, makes you not able to lift as much weight or as much as quickly as you want to lift it, and it makes you more prone to injury, hurting yourself. Static stretching is very bad for those reasons. The 2 or 3 exercises I recommend dynamically are Cossack squats around the world and lunges, but you can adapt it to whatever works for you. Now, last point. I mentioned earlier, you have to customize your stretching routine for whatever sport or activity you're doing. And so if you go on the internet, you'll see plenty of people who do super long, rigorous warm-ups, 10, 20, 30 minutes. And maybe it's actually really hard. Really hot, maybe there's a lot of resistance. If it works for them, it works for them. You have to filter for 2 things. First of all, are they doing the activity or sport that you want to be doing? So Olympic lifting is very different from powerlifting. Soccer is very different from basketball. So do the motions that make sense for your exercise or training, at least for that day. And number 2, if you do go on the internet and look for warm-up routines, you're often going to end up with someone who's an elite Instagram person. Maybe they're top of the field in their own sport. So what happens is they're actually a genetically elite individual. I'm not, you're not. They're top 1% or 0.1% of people in the world at their particular thing. So you'll see like a lot of Olympic weightlifters, people who throw the weight over the head in the Olympics, they have extreme flexibility, which is great. Good for them. And they might go do like 20 minutes of like extreme pancakes, which is basically flattening your body while you're with your legs out. before they lift. It works for them, but it doesn't mean it's going to work for you. And probably it's actually wrong for you to do that. So be careful of the extreme people you see on the internet, specifically Instagram. Lastly, where does this fit into our overall exercise? Do dynamic stretching in the beginning of your workout, but once you're done with the workout for the training for the day, you can do static stretching all you want. You can go and hold those positions in very far ranges of motion for as long as you want. You can push yourself, make it burn, really feel that deep muscle fibers stretching after the workout. That's totally fine. Do it after the workout. In fact, while we're at it, do your mobility training generally. This is, we haven't talked too much about this at Pointman, but you gotta do mobility training. Do yoga, do Pilates, do gymnastics after you've done the important training for the day. That's warming up. I wish you success with warming up. Stay healthy, stay loose, stay strong. See ya.